Monsieur le recteur, Madame la doyenne, Dante Alighieri, dans son livre « De l'éloquence vulgaire », explique que dans ce livre, il ne va pas parler du latin, mais de la langue vulgaire. Et il dit je pourrais vous parler de la langue d'Oc, de la langue d'Oil ou de l'italien. Mais comme je suis italien moi-même, je vais vous parler de l'italien. Vous me pardonnerez, peut-être puis-je demander à Dante Alighieri de me pardonner, de ne parler ni la langue vulgaire italienne, ni la langue vulgaire française, la langue d'Oil, mais l'anglais, si vous le permettez. So, Mr. Rector, Mrs. Dean of the Statistical Science Faculty, Excellencies, members of Parliament, very, very dear friends that I see just in front of me, including the Saul of Banca d'Italia, who's there. I would say that I am extremely moved. Of course, you don't need to read any history book when you are in this extraordinary place to see that we are here in the oldest university in Italy, the oldest university in Europe, and I understand, Mr. Rector, the oldest university in the Western world. And I have also to say that hearing the Gaudeamus Igitur, which was just sung, is also extremely moving. You have, Mrs. Dean of the faculty, been very eloquent, of course, much too flattering as regards what I did, but I know that it is la loi du genre. But I have to say that I share with you the thought that it is extremely important that we continue to improve statistics, that we continue to improve the help that the economic science can have, because we are experiencing extraordinarily difficult times, times that are extraordinarily demanding, times that had called us to go out of the textbooks, to embark in new avenues, to accept non-standard measures, and to encourage very active research in the new avenues of economic research. I don't stress more that, but I think that it is extremely important. And of course, your university is a center of research which is of extreme importance in the present world. We are, as I said, living extraordinarily difficult times, and I think that they call for further European integration. When people seek a justification for European integration, there is a tendency to look backwards. In particular, that European integration, which is true, has banished the spectre of war from our continent. It is true also that we had the longest period of peace and prosperity in European history. This perspective is entirely correct, but it is also incomplete. There are many more reasons for striving towards ever closer union in Europe today than there were in 1945. And these reasons are entirely forward-looking. 65 years ago, the distribution of global GDP was such that Europe had only one role model for its single market. It was the United States of America. Today, Europe is faced with a new global economy, reconfigured by globalization and by the emerging economies of Asia and Latin America. It is a world where economies of scale and networks of innovation matter more than ever. By 2016, very, very soon, we can expect the euro area in terms of purchasing power parity to be at the level of below the GDP of China. It will remain over and above the GDP of India, but together, these two countries would represent around twice in purchasing power parity terms the GDP of the euro area. Over a longer horizon, the entire GDP of the G7 countries will be dwarfed by the rapid development of the systemic emerging economies. Europe has to cope with a new geopolitical landscape which is very profoundly reshaped by these emerging economies. And Europe is also faced with new global challenges where effective solutions are possible only at the European and at vast international levels. In this new global constellation, European integration, both economic and political, is central to achieve prosperity, long-lasting prosperity and stability and influence. The challenge is to set the correct path of European integration. Getting this right is essential to realize fully our continent's tremendous potential. Let me therefore lay out a vision for the Europe of tomorrow. The creation of Europe's economic and monetary union is unique in the history of sovereign states. The euro area constitutes a society of states of a completely new type. We have created progressively a concept which goes far beyond the Westphalian concept of sovereign states. Like individuals in a society, euro area countries are both independent and interdependent. Good governance requires that both individual member states and the institution of the EU fulfill their responsibilities. We have observed the functioning of the euro area for 13 years. As all advanced economies, we have experienced the shock of the crisis over the last 5 years. It is time now to draw lessons from these first years. And I know I say that in front of the previous president of the Commission, which I'm so happy to see here. It's very, very flattering. Thank you very much for being present, Mr. President.